Chapter 5. The Moors, the morning after my uneasy night. I resolved to leave the manor briefly and explore the surrounding moors. The fog had lifted slightly, but a pale mist still clung to the hills and valleys, giving the landscape a ghostly pallor. Each step across the damp grass seemed to echo unnaturally, and the wind carried whispers that I could not entirely distinguish from the rustling of dead leaves. Villagers were scarce, and the few I did see avoided my gaze. An old woman with a crooked cane shuffled past, muttering under her breath, and a boy ran along a narrow path, stopping only to glance back with wide, frightened eyes. When I asked the woman about the Harrowgate estate, she only shook her head. "Best leave it be, sir," she croaked. "The land remembers, and it does not forgive." I pressed her for details, but she merely muttered something about disappearances and an east wing that no one dares enter. Her eyes, dark and wary, seemed to pierce through me, warning me without words. As I continued along the winding moorland paths, the manor loomed behind me, a hulking shadow among the hills, towers and turrets clawing at the sky. The farther I went, the more I noticed odd signs: trampled earth, charred remnants of old fires, and stones arranged in patterns that made no practical sense. They looked ceremonial, deliberate, unnatural. A sudden breeze brought the smell of smoke and something else, a faint coppery temps, like blood. I paused, scanning the horizon. A cluster of trees shivered despite the lack of wind, and I thought I glimpsed movement among their branches. Shapes crouched and watched, vanishing before I could focus. I made my way toward a small village at the edge of the moors. The houses were old, timber-framed, leaning against each other as though seeking mutual support. Doors were shut tightly, curtains drawn, yet I could hear faint voices murmuring in hushed tones as I passed. None of the villagers stepped outside, but their whispers followed me, carried on the wind. In the square, a statue of a winged figure, perhaps an angel, though its face was worn beyond recognition, stood atop a pedestal. The stones seemed oddly warm to my touch, almost pulsing. Beneath its base were faint markings, symbols I could not identify, but they radiated a subtle sense of malice, as if warning intruders to turn back. By the time I returned to the manor, the sun was low, casting the moors in deep gold and long shadows. I felt the weight of eyes upon me from all directions. The villagers had not followed openly, yet I could sense their vigilance, a quiet, constant observation, like predators circling their prey. That night the whispers returned in the manor, louder and more insistent than before. They spoke of the moors, of sacrifices, of debts owed by the living to the dead. I lay awake, realizing that the secrets of the Harrowgate estate extended far beyond its walls, and that the east wing was merely the beginning. Sleep came fitfully, if at all, and when it did, the moors came with it, twisted, darkened landscapes crawling with shapes that were neither human nor animal, eyes gleaming in the mist. I awoke in a cold sweat, understanding fully that the manor and the moors were connected by something ancient, something patient, and something hungry.